So we'll go ahead and get started. My name is Sarah Parks. Thanks for joining us, everybody, this afternoon on your lunch. We have Leslie James and Jennie Phelps from Missouri State Archives here to talk to us about time capsules. Like I said, if you don't see, there is a link in your chat about what was found in the 1920 time capsule. If you don't see that, let me know. I'll send it to you again directly. We are going to do questions in the chat right now. So if you have any, we'll free to address those as we go. And then at the end, we'll save some time, hopefully, for some Q&A at the end too. But I will be recording this and for everybody to go back and look at on the memo website later on YouTube. And it should be closed captioned. If anybody needs anything, send me a chat during the session. But we should have gotten everything tested and stuff and ready to go. So I will go ahead and turn it over to Leslie and Jennie.
Okay. I'm going first, so I'm going to there we go. So I'm Jennie Phelps. I'm a conservator in the conservation lab at the Missouri State Archives, which, in spite of what the archivists believe, is part of the local records program. We treat items from local government record holders and state agencies, including the Missouri State Archives. Most of our work is on loose paper documents, maps, plats, some books and photographs, and the very occasional non-paper object. I've been with our conservation lab a bit over 4 years now. I have a Master of Science in Conservation Practice from Cardiff University. I'm actually trained as a generalist rather than specifically as a paper conservator. That's because I got into conservation through archaeology. So time capsules get me very excited, both with the, hey, it was buried, and ooh, objects, three-dimensional, I love them. So opening time capsules is not something we really recommend doing with a public audience and members of the media present. We don't know what the condition of time capsule contents will be when we get into them. And it's also pretty delicate work that we don't enjoy doing with some people staring at us. So we recommend that you have the time capsule extracted from the cornerstone or other location, get it unsealed, give us a full day to go through it and get everything that was in the capsule dried out or humidified and flattened and is in good shape as it can be. And then you can do a public presentation. And for working on this, you need a good workspace, tables, good lighting, and no audience. So that's sort of the basics. In terms of what to expect, well, it varies. Stone County, which I was part of opening in February 2020, this stuff was in excellent shape. It was a little bit damp, but basically no mold. Everything flattened out and dried beautifully. And you can see that the inside of the time capsule had very, very little copper corrosion, which is indicative of how little water got into the time capsule, which was great. Carthage, on the other hand, from 2006, there was a lot of water in there. And from what I understand, this is probably the one Diane was talking about when she said sometimes the time capsules have a sort of document soup in the bottom, which, ew. The stuff was not in great shape, and you could see how corroded the inside of that time capsule was. This one from Carrollton, better, but there was still quite a bit of loss on the sides of most documents. Cole County, on the other hand, apparently it was really dry in that time capsule. The stuff came out fairly dry and brittle, and you can see breaks caused because it was brittle. So whole range of possibilities in terms of what you can find when you get into your time capsule. Common problems that we may encounter. For paper and related materials, yellowing, embrittlement, tears, breaks, losses, surface dirt, all very common. Items may also be damp or wet. We do most cleaning with soft brushes, smoke sponges, sometimes cotton swabs. If stuff's dry and brittle, we can humidify and flatten it, which also tends to improve the flexibility of the paper fibers long term. Just ups their moisture content a little bit without them staying damp. On the other hand, items that are damp, we can dry them out, either air drying or in a blotter stack. Items with damage, we can mend them or put them in protective housing. Yellowing and acid burn from adjacent items, like on this envelope, there's really not much we can do for that outside of our lab, and not much we can do for it inside the lab. We can try to reduce the yellowing a little bit, but that's pretty much a permanent effect of differential aging. So the more nasty stuff, like the mold, and who knows what that was in this bag. We can clean, we can pop stuff in a freezer to kill off insects or inactivate the mold. Notice I don't say kill the mold. From a practical perspective, you cannot kill the mold on artifacts without killing the artifacts. And if you are dealing with mold in a time capsule, it's really important to use personal protective equipment. And make sure that you are protected from the mold spores. Mold's always a respiratory irritant. It's sometimes a more serious health risk, and you want to keep that out of your lungs, off your skin, out of your eyes. So disposable respirators at a minimum, gloves recommended for this, nitrile or neoprene. And we also recommend covering clothes with like a disposable Tyvek apron or sleeves. Items with mold and insect damage often have severe losses, and they can be stabilized, but there's nothing we can do to put that back. So, whoops, what did I just do? There we go. Metal objects turn up fairly frequently in time capsules, and corrosion is a real problem, like this green stuff here. It's not reversible. It's a chemical reaction. We cannot put the metal ions back where they came from. We can clean it off, but that often leaves pitting, loss of surface finish. These are before and afters from a little medallion found in the Christian County time capsule that Leslie's going to talk about more. More really serious case can get you structural fragility, and that can be consolidated. So. In terms of new time capsules, well, conservators have opened a lot of time capsules at this point, and it's given us a pretty good idea of what people should and shouldn't do when setting up a new time capsule. So start with, you need to pick a good container. It needs to be waterproof. It needs to be well sealed. Most issues that we see with time capsule contents come from excess moisture or water intrusion. So keeping that out is really important. It should be made of materials that will resist deformation, because that tends to lead to cracks that let the water in. Material that will resist decay. So most plastics, wood, many metals don't qualify for this. Copper seems to do okay in the right circumstances. Stainless steel is good. A cool looking wooden chest with iron bands is going to be a disaster. Many plastics are not a good choice because the plasticizers, the ingredients in the plastic that make it flexible, tend to leach out, leaving the remaining resin brittle and prone to cracking. And like with real estate, the location you put your time capsule really matters. Burial in the city park is likely to have problems. Cornerstones seem to be a mixed bag. Some of them do really well, some of them don't. Inside a building, such as in the basement or under stairs, is great, very well protected. It doesn't have the same kind of buried treasure bit to it, but it's a lot safer and more likely to come out in good condition. The new time capsule from the state capitol in 2015, stainless steel box specifically made as a time capsule. It's got this flanged lip for the lid. Livingston County put their time capsule in a coffin, which is a rather unique choice, but probably very well sealed. They're also keeping it in the courthouse basement, so it's going to be in amazing shape probably. As a final note, if you have the opportunity to acclimate the time capsule contents to a steady temperature and relative humidity, ideally between 30 and 40%, before sealing everything in, that sets up the best interior conditions possible for the time capsule. Not too damp, not too dry, and hopefully everything stays nice. In terms of things to avoid putting in your time capsule, you may not be able to avoid everything on this list, but if you're including any of these items, you need to be aware that the first 4 things are all likely to age and disintegrate in ways that pose a lot of risk to other items in the capsule. So you can include them, but you need to be very careful as to how they're packaged. So food, insects, plants, please turn them down. Liquids and gels, you want to be very, very careful with packaging in case they leak. Anything with a battery, batteries don't age well. They are bad news. Most items made of plastic and rubber, particularly the flexible plastics where those plasticizers are going to work their way out, they don't do time well. And anything that needs a technological interface to access, like this 5-inch reel audio tape, there are no guarantees that even common interface technology will still be available in 50 or 100 years, or that the media will be in the sort of shape that allows it to be accessed, even if the technology is still available. Those audio tapes in particular, it's a magnetic iron oxide on thin plastic, and there's just so much that can go wrong with that from a conservation perspective. I don't know if they were able to play this one from 2011, but that's something I'd send to a specialist. I'm not touching that. So And as you're packing things up, you want to separate items as much as possible and group like items with like, package them in acid-free or alkaline buffered paper and folders. And if you replace boxes with ones made of archival board, polyester or acrylic display enclosures that you can get from conservation suppliers are okay and may help protect things that would otherwise be vulnerable or might not be great for the things around them. You can also use glass containers like were used for these seeds, and corrosion intercept bags or film, which can help protect metal items and keep the corrosion down. Double packaging, like putting them in a glass jar and then putting the jars in the box, is good. If you have liquids, I would say take the liquid, put it inside another glass container with some acid-free tissue paper padding in between them, seal it up nice and tight. If the interior container with the liquid breaks or leaks, it's going to be contained in the outer container. And I trust glass more than plastic for that. A little bit more likely to stay stable. And the baseball, this is for the Capitol time capsule. They replaced the original cardboard box with the acrylic. Cardboard box was super acidic and wasn't going to be good for the baseball long term or anything else. It's often a matter of minimizing risks, minimizing potential issues, choosing the least potentially harmful packaging. So while you often want to avoid plastics, sometimes the plastic is a better choice than something else. So another shot from opening Stone County. And time capsules, I mean, you open a time capsule, it's sort of the beginning of the end for one thing, but it's also an opportunity to establish a new time capsule. And Leslie's going to talk about doing just that from an archivist perspective.
All right, let me share my screen and do my part here. Okay, it says my screen is sharing, so there we go. Okay, so what I'm going to talk about is the time capsule specifically in Christian County. We had an opportunity to work with an old one and create a new one. And kind of like Jenny said, I have worked on several old ones, but never had the opportunity to do a new one. So this was going to be a new adventure for me. This started in early 2021. We kind of created this, the county actually kind of created an ad hoc committee with state, county, local officials, local entities. And I've got the list on here kind of showing some of the groups that participated. I gotta say, I'll probably say this several times through this presentation. I was really impressed with this group. Everybody worked well together. Everyone had some sort of input, information put out there was received well. I served kind of as a middleman between our program and with the conservators. Done it several times, always happy to do it. And I feel like we did pretty well. I think we would have gotten an A, maybe B+ with this endeavor. So what we did first, let me see here. So we met about every 2 weeks through Zoom. We kind of had multiple things going on at once since we had an old one to deal with and a new one to plan. So people volunteered and we divvied up the responsibilities. I came in first working with the 1920 time capsule. We needed to determine exactly where it was at. We figured it was behind the cornerstone. There was concern about the building's, the structure, stability, and taking the time capsule out. So we had county commissioners in our group. They had some folks come and look at it and kind of assess whether we could go check the cornerstone from the outside or from the inside. And so the decision was made to go from the inside. But before I get to that, they had the original blueprints of the courthouse. And so I came in and I humidified those. They were pretty tightly rolled. We flattened them with humidification, and nothing on the blueprints showed the time capsule, which was not surprised. But since we had the record, we were going to check and see if by chance it may help us. So I ended up re-rolling those, did a much looser roll, rolled them over a tube and covered them with butcher paper and cotton ties so they could keep those in a little bit better shape if they ever wanted to pull them out again. So since we didn't find anything on the blueprints, we went to local sources. I recommended that we check county commission minutes. Maybe someone filed it with county commission minutes on where it was at and what might we check those, no luck. We tried the recorder's office. Sometimes you never know what people are going to take into the recorder's office and have recorded. So we checked there, no luck as well. But luckily there was a local newspaper and they did cover the time capsule a bit in there. The only clarification we really got was this one on the bottom right that said something about a metal box was prepared and sealed containing a few coins and other small items with the names of the parties furnishing the same, which we did find that. We found business cards with people's names on them telling us who had donated the items. So that was good to know. The one with Stone County, I was at that one as well. And there was a story going around that a little boy had put his pocket knife in the time capsule. So we were all really excited, hoping to find a pocket knife. We did not. So we have no idea what happened to that little guy's knife. So we did not find a list. So we didn't know what all exactly was in it other than the coins and few small items. And let's see, I said again, I was the go-between for the conservators and this committee. The conservators sent resources for us to consider on pulling things out, what the process is that they prefer. Like Jenny said about having it removed and looked at, between taking it out and looking at it, there needs to be as little time ideally as possible. So we coordinated when they were going to open it and when we would come down, we being the conservators, and worked out really well. If there's any delay, what I've been told in the past is that to go ahead and put it in a refrigerator or a freezer so that if there are water issues in those time capsules, that you're not leaving it sitting out in warmer weather and temperatures for mold to start growing. So they went ahead and stuck it in the fridge for a few days. There was only a couple days between us, the conservators coming down and them taking it out. So let me look here. Okay, so it was behind the cornerstone, as suspected. They came in through the back in the recorder's office, which she was thrilled about all that dust. And the county works people are the ones that worked on this. I can't remember Richard's last name, but he was really integral in this committee. and he headed up getting it extracted. The middle photo is, you see that concrete on the right, it looks like they've drilled in a few times. That's where the time capsule was, and they chipped away and found the copper box in there. We followed most of the rules when to not do it in public, but being in a courthouse and having county commissioners and officials on your committee, sometimes, you know, you're lenient with that. And our commissioners came in and were taking a look. We had a few people sneak in from the courthouse. Some committee members also came over. I know the public library members came over to check it out as well. And we did have the local newspaper. He was really respectful, came in, kind of stayed out of the way. And I work as a middleman as well. Whenever the conservators are working on the items, I'm happy to answer questions, explain what the conservators are doing. And so I was able to do that for them. So they were able to see what was happening there as well. So let's see, make sure I am covering, look at my notes here. Okay, let's jump ahead. Okay, and then we also recommend that they have it open when we arrive. So that morning, Richard had it opened, pried open for us. And they did the removal, they did the opening, and the conservators came in. When the conservators come in, they usually do a one-day extensive conservative conservation effort. They had lots of tables set up ahead of time. We had a room off to the side. We closed the door so they could, you know, focus on what they're working on. The nice thing about our conservators when they come and do the time capsules is they bring everything with them other than the tables in the room that they need to work on these items. So we had a humidity chamber set up, we have folders, they bring the sponges for cleaning, cotton balls if we need to clean off mold. They are a well-oiled machine. I will say our conservation lab is amazing. Can't sing their praises enough. And they also bring archival storage. So everything that they take out of the time capsule does get rehoused, and whoever's in charge of the time capsule has it properly stored and for wherever they want to keep it. So we had 3 conservators for the 1920 time capsule in Christian County, who all ironically have already moved on to other endeavors conservation wise. Diane is with State Historical in Columbia now. Kate and Caitlin, I'm not sure where they went, but they were very excited about what they were moving on to. So let me see if I've missed anything else. Okay, not yet. Okay, the new time capsule again went just really well. We had the information from the conservators, and Richard, again, from the County Works program or County Works department, we talked about the size, the space that we had available and what size we wanted to make the time capsule. And those 2, or the box that you're seeing, there were 2 of those made by the County Works program, and with lids, stainless steel. They were great. And then we discussed through our meetings where we wanted to store it. Originally, we were going to put it under the stairs, and we decided I pointed out whether there was any water lines or anything there. I think maybe there was, or maybe there was just a decision made that they wanted to have it more out in the open where people knew what it was. So the photos on the bottom is actually where those 2 containers, they were encased in that brick containment there at the bottom, and they've put a TV above it so they can show photos of what was found in the original time capsule. They can use it for display space or for anything else they want to at the same time. So it's not under any water issues, any pipes. Temperature is pretty regulated. It's in kind of the lobby atrium area of the first floor of the courthouse there in Christian County. For collecting items for the time capsule, we had a flyer. We did promotions through the newspaper. The library staff really kind of took over that for the promos and for the news releases. We discussed what items we would like. We gave examples, and we told things we didn't want. In particular, we were pretty specific, no battery items. We did put a stipulation that we wanted that we would review items, because we wanted to we didn't want to censor people, but yet we didn't want, pornography to be snuck in or something, potentially inappropriate and not county related. So, and I don't think we had anything we had to turn away, which was great. We did have one anonymous letter that was submitted on the perspective of living in Christian County, based on, I don't know if it was lifestyle or something, but they were very receptive. They let us read the letter, and it wasn't controversial. It wasn't, accusing anyone of anything. It was just strictly their perspective of living in Christian County. And so that went in there. I think that's the only anonymous thing we might have put in there. We had several collection events, and not only am I the field archivist for Southwest Missouri, I do happen to live in Christian County. So part of my time was as an official archivist, and other times I did volunteer to do the donation events. We really wanted to be accessible. So Christian County is one of those with the panhandle. We're kind of long. So we had an event, this western part in Clever, and then we went far east to Sparta. Luckily, a few years ago, we just had some new libraries built. So the library was very open to being a site that we could host these events. And so I volunteered for several of those, so I could give any perspective or, recommendation if something wasn't appropriate, if it wasn't going to last very long, or, it's going to leak, it's going to explode potentially or something. So we did that and got several. I think we got a great variety of items. I'm really disappointed I won't be here in 100 years to open this and to see people's reaction, but I think we got a good variety of things across the board. We did have, like I said, 2 compartments, so we could divide donations. If we wanted to have one that was primarily paper products and photographs, and then another one for artifacts. This was a very low budget thing. Like the time capsules being built was done through county funds, and so there wasn't a lot of funding for archival housing and everything. I did donate a few acid-free folders that we used for the paper products. So we got family photos, we got letters, some business swag. They had an essay contest in conjunction with these time capsules. There was an event to show off what they found in the old time capsule and to dedicate the new time capsules. Somebody, I remember, bringing a school parking permit. We had books, and we also had we had a couple authors and artists that brought some things in as well. So that was really fun. Let me jump ahead here. Okay, so with our donations, we made a little form. If they would be willing, we really encouraged them to tell who they were, who was donating it. If the contact information was basically more for if we needed to get a hold of them for any reason it wasn't accepted. And then we had them describe what it was, or we helped them fill this out as well if need be. And then we asked them, why did they donate it? What about this item represents Christian County or your experience in Christian County? So we have those, and those are also in there in the time capsule. So when it comes out, they'll know who donated what. We did the thing on the right, the submissions, ideas, and items that can't be accepted. That was on our promotional information, the news release that went out. We had a limitation on sizes, just so we weren't getting like extravagant big artifacts or something like that. We tried to give some ideas if they were a business owner or if they were with a school, if the school wanted to have a project somehow, maybe do some artwork or something and submit it, take some class photos and send them in. Locally owned businesses and restaurants, we were really interested. I think we got a few menus for it as well. We had some families come in and donate just family photos and identifying who they were. Had they grown up in Christian County? Had they come here from somewhere else? What brought them to Christian County? That was kind of fun. And then coins and things. I think we probably had some coins as well. And I think we got some medals maybe too. We were trying to get badges from the police departments or something, or a patch if we could do that as well. So, and then we had a list of things that we wouldn't accept. And it says on there that submissions would not be returned, but we were lenient on that because we really didn't have anything that we needed to return. And the photo in the middle, that is Jamie. She's a local artist in Christian County, and she has I don't know if she still keeps it up. She used to have a little YouTube channel where she'd go around and paint different locations in the Southwest Missouri area. So I knew her from Clever, and so I encouraged her, asked her if she would donate something for us. So she came in and donated an item for us. So I thought that was really fun. Let's see. Oh, there's my ending. The things that came from the 1920 time capsule, they were digitized at MSU. Shannon Mawini, she also lives she did live in Christian County, but she's got connections and she works with the Historical Society there. And she's was the digital archivist, again, moving on to bigger and better things. She was a digital archivist there at MSU. So she digitized things, and the items are on their website at MSU, and that's the link. I think I put it in the chat as well, if anybody would like to look at that. So, and then I also want to say that this is not a service we advertise. It's kind of word of mouth. If you have a time capsule that you're interested in, you can reach out and see if it's something we might be interested in assisting you with. If we can't physically assist you, we can at least send you some information. My email is on the screen as well. If you have, if there's anything I mentioned in relation to this committee with Christian County that you would like, if I could want me to send it to you, I can do that as well. And then the phone number on the screen is our office in Jefferson City. So if you would need advice or recommendations on doing a committee, I seriously can't believe how well this committee worked together with so many leaders. No one usurped anybody else's power, and it was just a really great experience for us as doing the whole thing. It was just great. So that kind of concludes my part. So I'm ready to answer any questions if anybody has any. Let's see, what's the chat say? Oh, somebody opened, somebody said that they opened a time capsule from 1899 at MU. Yeah, I have a project in, okay, I won't identify the county, but I have a project in this county. They also opened a time capsule, and I know several of the office holders there, and they did not reach out to us to help them with their time capsule. So no matter how much we work to get to have the word out there and be able to help, sometimes it still gets missed. I do have a time capsule in Aurora next year. It's a 25-year time capsule. They put it in a PVC pipe. I am super excited to see how well or terrible this was. So I'm really hoping they contact us and that we can go and work on that one, because I think, Jenny, this will be a really interesting one for us next year. Are there any other questions? I don't know if I'm reading these in the right order here.
What was your favorite thing from the time capsule?
The one in Christian County, they had a lot of coins and Mason documents. We did have some water issues with the old time capsule. There was some mildew, and then there was one spot that had eroded and a bug had gotten in, but the bug only ate on one document, which is a miracle. Otherwise, everything was in pretty good shape. I always liked the coins. And when I was meeting with the committee and there were county commissioners, I mean, I've been to some time capsules where it's all just like official stuff from the county. When you open it, that's not quite as interesting for the community. And so when we were planning the new one, I said, well, no offense, but I think things from individuals, artifacts, things like that are going to be really interesting in 100 years, not your official proclamation on something. No offense, but so I always like the artifacts, photographs, artifacts, business cards, letterheads, things like that.
We had one more in the chat. Tiffany asked what timeframes you usually suggest for your future time capsules.
I tried to get the county to, since we had 2 containers, I even suggested that we do maybe a 25 or a 50-year time capsule and then do 100. And that was kind of poo-pooed right away. They just really wanted to do the 100-year one because I was like, do 25, I can come back and see the reaction. But that was the only thing that was pretty, I think, quickly decided that they just want to do 100. But Jenny might have perspective on that as well.
100's good, 50 seems to be okay. 25, you're going to get people who were involved in setting up the time capsule. So it kind of depends on who's putting it together and why and what you're thinking of for the future in terms of who do you want to be opening it. My high school class did a 25-year one that we were supposed to be opened at our 25-year reunion. I wasn't there, so I don't know what happened to it. But so in that sort of context, doing a shorter time frame makes sense. The county, the 100 seems to be pretty good, but the Worth County one with the audio reel, that was a 50-year time capsule. And you might get a few people who were part of it as when they were young. So yeah, I would say pick your time frame based on what your intentions with the capsule are. And
something I would recommend is that have a content list. I'm sure I towards the end got busy and didn't get to go to the dedication and the sealing and everything, but I encourage them to make a list of the items and keep it somewhere. If not, have it recorded in county commission minutes. Might even be able to go with recorder, put it in a couple of different places so that, maybe someone will think to go to the Historical Society if it's still around and, check for a list, or put, some details in the local newspaper as well. That's always helpful, I think.
I would say that including old and current items, when they resealed the Capitol time capsule, they put the Bible that had been in the original one back into the new one. So a little bit of continuity is certainly a thing that you could do. They had to be really careful with the Bible apparently because it had some mold on it, and so they packaged that up really carefully to make sure it wasn't going to share that goodness with the other things in the capsule. So
If you all had to put one thing in a time capsule right now, today, what would you put in it? Not to put you on the spot or anything.
Thanks, gosh. I'm like looking around my office trying to think. I don't know. Like I got my son and my youngest son involved with the Christian County one. And I asked him the same thing. What do you want people to know about you? Or, you know, we focused on toys and said, what's your favorite toy? And he has quite the selection of Nerf guns. I will say I am prepared in my office in case of a Nerf attack. We took a picture of him with a lot of his Nerf guns, and he wrote a little something about why he liked Nerf guns or why they were cool to him and put that in. What I put in, I don't know. Photos, probably photos of family, maybe like my house, because you know in 100 years my house will be considered classic maybe. So
I don't know, is this from work or from something I could retrieve from home?
Either one.
Either one. From work, I actually decorate my cubicle with pages from old calendars, rotate them every month. So I might pick one of those because particularly the older ones, they've got stuff written on them about what I was doing at school on a particular day, or, you know, it's like, yes, you have a dentist appointment here and a test here. And so they sometimes fun to glance at the back of those and see what I was doing. And so yeah, I might pick one of those and put it in.
I think that'd be fun. A little snippet of like, oh, it's the everyday things. Because
Yeah,
I think we get so wrapped up too as like, we're going to preserve all these things and think about those big things. But I think it's nice to have like, oh, well, you know, our daily calendar, like somebody may find that interesting too in 100 years, because it may look completely different than what they are going to be doing. I always found, I worked at a 100-year-old ghost town for a while, and there was like a set of 3 condiment things, and we're pretty sure, like, you know, it's mustard, ketchup, maybe oil. That third one though, like no one's 100% sure because no one like wrote it down because it was super common. But now we don't really know what this random third condiment that sat on everybody's kitchen tables was.
archaeological dig I worked on many years ago, we found a bottle from pepper sauce and found some seeds in it when we were cleaning it out. And this was really, really exciting because we know that pepper sauce was a big thing in this area at that time, but nobody wrote down the recipes.
oh,
So they were hoping that they could get a botanist to look at the seeds and figure out what kind of peppers had been in the pepper sauce. So
now when I did my archaeology field school, every pit, I ended up with the same 2 guys on several pits. And so we decided to do time capsules whenever we filled them back in. Totally low quality. One was probably in a Taco Bell cup. One of them I think was in a glass jar. We did put a spork in. We thought that was hilarious. And I think we put a letter in there, maybe something else, but yeah, I'm hoping that's the Felix Valley historic site in St. Genevieve. So if they ever dig those up again, I'm really hoping they find those.
Hoping that spork made.
I tell you, I mean, this was also the group when we were digging, we started singing theme songs to TV shows. One would start and we'd all start singing. So I mean, we were characters, but we were so proud of that sport.
On the condiment one, I wonder if the other item was just butter,
It
because
might
that
have
would have
been.
been on everybody's table back in the day.
Yeah. Like I said, it's never written on any of like the bottles itself. So they're like, I don't know, it's this random mystery. We can't prove it either way. We've got guesses, but I don't know.
If I was to do a time capsule here at work, and I put this in the chat, so you guys can ignore it, but I would do one of my business cards and then a letter describing my role in what I do here and the people that have held it before me, because there wasn't a list of that before I started, and I've been gathering information to figure out this, particular stuff and how the role has changed over time in the past 147 years. And then probably like just an old item from somewhere here in the office that, yeah. So I'm thinking I need to do one at our 150th anniversary though.
Call me.
Like we have original stock certificates from 1876, like actual certificates. So
Are they blank? Like they're not active, or?
they were used.
Oh.
I had Connie at the archives flatten them for me because they were really dry. They had to be hydrated. So like it's just a stock certificate, and this one's LAD Crenshaw.
Mm-hmm.
So I would definitely put one of these in, and it's got his signature on the back of it from when they paid it out to him. So I think those are interesting.
Cool.
I would say definitely reach out for help. We can consult, we can advise, we can potentially come out and help deal with the contents when you open an old capsule.
I don't think the cemetery has an old one. I don't know where they would have put it if they did.
Check your newspapers.
Yeah.
Spend half my day in the newspapers.
Don't see any other questions or comments in the chat. I did just want to thank you both for coming on and sharing your experiences with time capsules with us, because I find them fascinating, and probably will look into, hey, what other time capsules are around me? Am I here for when they get opened, or?
Well, thanks for having us. I enjoyed it. I enjoy doing time capsules. So this was a fun topic.
I enjoyed helping with the Stone County opening. I'm sad that I missed the Christian County one. I was visiting family when that one happened, and but yeah, call us up, send us an email, reach out through your local field archivist.
My local field archivist is on here.
Well, perfect. You have the current time. You're like, when that Zoom call we were on, we should do that. All right. Well, if no one else has anything, just a couple of reminders. This will go up within the next couple days or so on the MAMA YouTube, so we can watch it again. It should have the closed captions if that's something you need. I will make sure I can put that on there as well. Or if you just want it, reach out to that info email and I can send it to you directly too. If you have any ideas for future conversations or want to have one of your own, let me know. We try to do about one a month. So we are working on scheduling that for the rest of the summer into the fall season. And if you haven't yet looked at our call for proposals for the October annual meeting, definitely look at that. It should be fun. It's going to be at Independence at the Truman Library. So we will
Have
talk.
you ever thought of doing one on cemeteries as archives?
I don't know that we've done a conversation on that. If
We
you're
are a great
interested
resource. And when I say we, I mean all cemeteries.
I'd be
Some have-
interested in hosting one.
Some have better info than others, better
Mhm.
records. So
Awesome. Well, you guys have a great afternoon. I'll keep this open just for a couple more minutes in case there's any straggling questions or anything, but thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Sarah.
thank you guys.